Take a step back in time to the medieval ages, a period marked by knights, castles, and a whole lot more than meets the eye. An era that we are grateful we were not born in. We're going to delve into the unique ways societies back then handled rule breakers, though. Some of these practices might sound intense, so buckle up for some historical knowledge. The stretch rack. Imagine a device designed to stretch not only your limits, but also your body. That's the stretch rack, a tool used during the Middle Ages to extract confessions or information. Victims were secured to a rectangular wooden frame with ropes around their wrists and ankles. The executioner then turned the rollers, gradually increasing the tension on the ropes and causing intense pain. The goal was to make the victim spill the beans, but this often resulted in dislocated joints, torn muscles, and unimaginable suffering. The iron coffin. Imagine an iron chamber with spikes inside. Not exactly your ideal resting place, right? This chamber was known as the iron coffin, a medieval punishment device. Victims were placed inside and the spikes were meant to cause severe pain. The door was hinged, which meant the victim could be closed in with the spikes. It's a sobering reminder of the ingenuity used to inflict suffering during those times. The wheel of torture. Now picture a massive wooden wheel with spokes, an instrument used for public executions during the Middle Ages. Victims' limbs were placed between the spokes, and executioners used heavy instruments like hammers to break their bones. It was a gruesome spectacle meant to both punish the guilty and serve as a deterrent to others. The pillory. Imagine a wooden frame with holes for your head and hands. That's the pillory. Used for public humiliation, this device allowed crowds to gather and ridicule offenders. The victim would stand with their head and hands secured, becoming the target of rotten food and insults from onlookers. It was a form of public shaming and a stark reminder of how societies expressed justice in those times. The scold's bridle. Now imagine a metal mask that covers your head, but with a twist. There's a metal bit to prevent speech. This device was called the scold's bridle, used to punish individuals, mostly women, accused of spreading rumors or engaging in disruptive speech. It was a way to control behavior and maintain social order, even if it meant stifling speech. The head crusher is a device that clamps down on the victim's head, smashing it between a metal plate and a rounded iron cap. As the executioner gradually twists the handle, the victim's skull is slowly crushed. Bone fragments from the skull can puncture the brain, causing spontaneous muscle spasms, and of course brain hemorrhaging if the person inflicting the pain wants to torment the prisoner even further. He could strike the metal cap with an iron rod, sending echoing pain throughout the person's body. In most cases, the victim is killed, but not before the jaw had been crushed and their eyes had popped from their sockets. Flaying skinning is an old torture that dates back to 883 BC. It involves different methods to remove the skin from the victim's entire body. The most common form of flaying is to use a knife inserting the sharp blade just below the chin. The cuts start at the face and work all the way down to the toes. In some cases, the skin would be taken off in small sections and be performed slowly until completely done. What's left is a still living person with exposed muscles, ligaments, and bones. But the face skin's still intact. A person could live a few hours up to a day after the skin removal process. Another method involves being severely sunburned and then having the skin peeled off. Lastly, captives would be placed in large cauldrons with only their heads sticking out. Then, hot scalding water or oil would be poured inside, boiling their skin away. Impalement was and is one of the most gruesome ways of dying imaginable. The arms and legs are strapped to the ground by pegs rendering the person immobile. A large oiled wooden stake is gradually forced into the body, usually into the anus. The pear of anguish. Now let's talk about the pear of anguish. This tool had expandable segments and was used to inflict pain in sensitive areas like the mouth, anus, or vagina. By turning a screw, executioners would cause the segments to expand, creating unbearable pain and damage. It was a brutal device used to punish crimes like blasphemy or heresy. Well, now, we know why the population back then wasn't large, a glimpse into the unique punishments of the medieval ages. These methods might seem strange and disturbing to us today, but they offer a window into the values and norms of that era. Remember, history is filled with fascinating stories that help us understand our past and appreciate how far we've come. Let us know in comments which one is the worst in the list.